of one being, but all beings. Not only of beings, but He is knower of everything. Being all, He knows all. He is all. Being all, He knows all. Therefore, the term Kavi we generally translated poet and all, but here it's not poet, but Sarvajna, all knowing. So Kavim, so meditate and think about God as Kavi, knower of everything. Sab kuch jante hai. Need not imagine one person knowing everything, but he is that pure consciousness who is a knower of all that is. Kavim. Puranam is very ancient, but still is constantly new. Pura api navam means ageless or eternal. Puranam means eternal. Chirantanam. Though very ancient, but still always new. Even before the world was created, God was there. And when all the world gets dissolved, God will be there. He is before everyone and will remain after everything is dissolved. So Puranam, unchanging, unaffected by time, Puranam, that is the name or the indicator of God. Puranam, that word itself is not God, but that word indicates, when we contemplate on the meaning of this word, we are contemplating on God only. So when we take up this word and constantly think about the meaning of that word, we are thinking of God. So Puranam, Anushasitaram, he is also, Anushasitaram is controller, supreme controller. Sarvasya Jagataha Prashasitaram, controller of the entire world. Controller because he is everything and he is behind every action and every thought. So he is also called the inner controller. That supreme reality is the inner controller. He alone expresses as the various laws of nature. And nobody can break these laws. So as the law and as the lawgiver, he controls the entire world. Even there are laws of karmas, laws of nature. Through this, Bhagwan alone controls and rules the entire world. So Anushasitaram, one has to think about God as Anushasitaram, but not as some tyrant or as a bad master or something, but he is also very compassionate. One should contemplate on God as compassionate. So Anushasitaram. But why many times we see that in the world, those who are controllers and all, they are seen around like, in the world also some riots or something take place, immediately you will see a battalion of police or someone coming and controlling the crowd, controlling the situation. Traffic police and all, they control the confusion on the road. One person was interviewed for this traffic police job. So he was asked that suppose you are a traffic police and and there is a big chaos on the road and people are getting agitated and you are the only one, how will you manage the situation? What steps you will take? He thought for some time and he said, I will remove my uniform and mingle with the crowd. This is the safest step to take, he said. So, controllers are there who can be seen around here and there. But God is not that type of controller. He is not seen. He is anoho aniyan, smaller than the atom. Atom is considered the smallest, finest thing, but God is subtler and smaller even than atom. We can't bring him in a test tube and see him. Cannot be seen through any of the equipments. Even electron microscope if you have, we can't see God. He is not seen in the atoms. He is finer than the atoms. Subtler than our even senses who are aware of these atoms. He is subtler than even the mind who is aware of the senses. He is subtler than the mind, buddhi, which is aware of the mind. He is subtler than our avyakta, the unmanifest impressions, which are the source of our buddhi and our mind. Bhagavan is subtler than this avyakta also. So anoho aniyan, one contemplates things of God as anoho aniyan. Sam anusmared yaha, samyak anusmared. Very well, one should constantly think, remember. He is also sarvasya dhataram. He is the nourisher of everyone, all beings. Sarvasya dhataram. Dhata means nourisher. All beings are nourished and sustained by God. With what you call prarabdham pushyate vapuhu, our own prarabdha, our own karmas, they are there to sustain, to take care of our body and all, and that is supplied and that is blessed by God only. God is one, that supreme reality is one who is sustaining all beings of this world. It's like you have some computer games and all those tiny little creatures, they come and fight and all and jump from one level to another and all those things. They're all sustained by that whole program, and that whole program is sustained by the electricity. If the electricity fails, if the battery goes down, all those people, they just stop there itself. So they are sustained by the program, but the program itself is sustained by the electricity only. So God is like that supreme power who sustains and nourishes everyone. My life, my every thought, everything is nourished and taken care of that supreme reality. He is supreme. Actually, many times we don't acknowledge or don't give proper thought to this fact that God is supreme, powerful, and all-knowing. Even so-called people who will go do namaskar to God, ask for something, they will ask and they will say things in such a way that thinking that God doesn't know and is not very powerful also. भगवान ये कर लो, ये काम कर लो, हो सके तो कर लो, नहीं तो what can I do? You try. So we have doubt about his power and we have doubt about his wisdom also. भगवान ये ऐसे कर लो, ऐसे मत करो, you do this in this way, that is better. So we think that we know better than the Lord. So Sarvasya Dhataram, he is the nourisher of all beings. Okay, let me think then how exactly he is. He says Achintya Rupam. He is what you call cannot be grasped with our thoughts. He is beyond comprehension. He cannot be comprehended with our intellect. Intellect has got its own weakness that it cannot comprehend God. It can get a little inkling or get a little idea about the vastness and the greatness of God, but it cannot comprehend it completely. It is the weakness. It's like space. Space is so vast and all, and with my hand, if I try to catch that space, it's not possible. Suppose you want to show how, many times we do, little children also, how big was that? Oh, how big was the mountain you went to the Himalayas? How big? Oh, so big, so big. Not that their hands are capable of measuring the mountain, but they try their level best. And when they do like that, we also understand, yeah, must be real big. So similarly, the buddhi is like this, our arms, and God is much vaster than even mountains. So it cannot comprehend, it cannot hold it. Because for buddhi to understand things, it requires words. And words have their definitions, and definition means limitation, they are limited. So with limited words, with limited ideas and all, we cannot comprehend that unlimited, infinite, supreme reality. Achintya Rupam. But that Achintya Roop can be understood in the sense the intellect can understand that he is Achintya Roop. But it cannot comprehend God in his totality. So Achintya Rupam. Oh, he is Achintya Rupam, cannot be comprehended, that means cannot be known. He says, no, he is Aditya Varnam, of the nature of light. Like sun, of the nature of light means of the nature of knowledge, of the nature of consciousness. To know God, we don't require our mind, we don't require the intellect, we don't require the senses. God is known by God only. In the sense one transcends this mind, intellect, senses and comes to know God as oneself. Like a dreamer. Suppose you are dreaming. Many times one dreams during pravachan also. So suppose you are dreaming and you are in a nice garden, sitting there, looking at the flowers, a rose garden. All dream, huh? Malis are there and you are trying to eye a flower. Then suppose another person comes, suppose I enter your dream. And I say, oh, my dear person, you are dreaming. This is only a dream. You are sitting in the pravachan. Where? In Chinmaya Mission. Where? In the auditorium. Which row I won't tell, but you are sitting. You are sitting there. So that person who is sitting in the rose garden will not be able to comprehend this at all. But suppose I know that is the fact. You are sitting in this room, in this hall, but you are experiencing that you are in the garden. So that person who is in the garden, with his eyes, with his mind, with his intellect, will not be able to comprehend completely the fact that he is in this room. But that doesn't mean he cannot experience. He has to be little shaken up. So when he is shaken, he wakes up. That same person who was experiencing that I am in the garden experiences that I am here and now in this hall. So I am in the hall is experienced by I only, but not the I who was sitting in the garden. But that one who was sitting in the garden was not different from this I who is sitting here. Bapre, too complex, huh? Let me go and sit in the garden. So the I of the garden cannot see this I who is sitting in the hall, but when that I get dissolved, the same I as though transforms and comes to know that I am here sitting in this hall. Similarly, the I, the jiva, the ego, gets dissolved, and in its place, I, the God, arises and comes to know that I am God, I am Brahma. And I myself was thinking that I am a jiva. See, very interesting. Now we are told that I am Brahma. Once we realize Brahma, we will understand that, oh, I am Brahma, but I was thinking that I was a jiva. A realized master comes to know that I was, by mistake, thinking that I am a limited being. Now I know that I am that Brahma. Once upon a time, I was thinking that I was limited, but now I know I am Brahma. But when he was thinking that he was limited, he is told that you are Brahma, and it becomes difficult to comprehend. So, achintya rupam, but aditya varnam. God is of the nature of aditya, sun, means bright and brilliant, having its own light. The mind, is like the moon, which requires the light of the sun to get illumined. But the sun doesn't require any other light. The sun is not illumined by the light of the moon. The sun is illumined by its own light. Similarly, I come to know myself by myself only. No need for any other object. No need for any other instrument. So therefore it is called Aditya Varnam. But one should not imagine that it is like the sun. Sun has got its own limitation. Sun illumines everything, but sun cannot illumine darkness. In the sense, sun doesn't know what is darkness. But this consciousness can illumine not only light, but it can illumine darkness also. Consciousness not only can illumine knowledge, but it can illumine ignorance also. We not only know what we know, we also know what we don't know. We not only know our knowledge, but we are aware of our ignorance also. That awareness illumines both knowledge as well as ignorance. It is beyond all darkness. Tamasa parastat. Aditya varnam tamasaha. Tamasa means darkness. Parastad. It is beyond all darkness. That is my nature. That is the nature of God. And one has to contemplate on all these 8 pointers, understand them, feel them. See, feeling, understanding, and understanding associated with feeling. Both should go to mind and intellect should go together. We should feel what we have understood, and we should understand what we are feeling. When they are separated, that can be hallucination. Many people hallucinate because they feel something which they don't understand, and they understand something which they don't feel. So, based on the scriptures, we should contemplate and feel and understand what is being said. And constantly when we remember this, one will attain that supreme state of realization. Our Pujya Gurudev, in his commentary, he gives lot of importance to this verse, verse number 9 and verse number 10, the following verse. So much so that he says that if these 2 verses remain, and even if all the other verses get destroyed, the essence of our Hinduism, the essence of our philosophy will be retained. So this 9th verse gives us indicators of that supreme, and the 10th verse gives us the technique of how we can remember and go into that state of samadhi, or nirvikalpa samadhi, and how we can attain that state of realization. So that verse we will take up tomorrow. Close your eyes and sit quietly for some time. We'll chant Om together. Keep your eyes closed. Just sit silently. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.